Hey you guys, it's Britt. Today I'm here to talk to you about this Jonsbones situation that has sort of blown up on TikTok and now also on Twitter. It's everywhere, so if you're interested in hearing my thoughts, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so huge trigger warning for this video. I am going to be showing some images that could be upsetting to some. We're going to be discussing the proper handling of human remains, specifically bones. So if that is upsetting to you, please skip this one. I'll see you on the next video. But I really feel the need to talk about this because it is not only concerning, but it's also, I think, something that can create an interesting dialogue between you guys and myself and you guys in the comments between each other. So that's why I want to do this video. This is a very interesting rabbit hole that I've gotten myself into. I open a TikTok, if you guys don't know, and I don't have any content posted there. My account is private, but I have been following some accounts and coming across some very interesting things on my For You page. I'm not there to watch dancing videos of 20-year-olds, not my thing. TikTok actually has some really cool content once you kind of get away from that part of TikTok where it's the Bryce Halls of the world. There is a very interesting type of content that you can get yourself into, and the For You page always throws me some curveballs. A few days ago, a couple weeks ago, one of those curveballs was this girl, AJ Hawkins, and she has 58,000 followers, so she's not huge, but some of her videos are very interesting. So I decided to follow her, I'd say maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that. And I saw her talking about this guy, Jonsbones, and she went through who he is, and essentially who Jonsbones is someone who sells bones online. He has his own website where he sells real human bones, and the bone trade is something that I never educated myself in because it was not anything that I was ever exposed to. But the human bone trade, when it comes to selling to private collectors, is actually a very dark world, and I've learned a little bit about it. Again, I'm not here to say I'm a master or I know everything. I'm just going to share what I do know, and I'm going to continue to look into this. So once I heard that his ethics were being called into question, I immediately wanted to go onto his website, see what he's all about. On his website, and I'm going to show it right here, it says, when our founder, John Ferry, was a child, his father showed him an articulated mouse skeleton that he had assembled as a child. This sparked a lifetime curiosity in the study of osteology. Supported by both parents, one in business and the other in design, John was inspired to carve his own niche in the industry. The problem is that John is not an osteologist. He is not trained, he is not certified. He has taken 2 classes online. He is not an osteologist, even though he's taken these 2 classes. And the problem is, and I'm going to give you guys the overarching issue that I have with this. I recognize that there are oddities collectors and people that collect human species and bones and teeth, and that's what they want in their personal collection for whatever reason. Some people are very fascinated by it. Some people, it's a family thing where it's been passed through generations, and now the youngest person has an interest in it. So I don't want this video to shame people who have oddities collections or are interested in collecting those types of things. The problem with the human bone trade is that most of these specimens, they're not always responsibly sourced. And what the research has shown is that many times these bones come from India and other countries where where people in poverty did not sign up to be having their remains shown on TikTok. And, you know, some people will say, oh, well, it's just a skeleton. Who really cares? I do. Those are still remains that should be treated with the utmost respect. And I'll show a couple videos here of what John does with some of the remains in his collection. It's incredibly disrespectful and bothersome to see someone like him handling someone's family member's remains the way that he is. Now, Mashable.com did an article about this, and I am going to read some of this article to you guys because I think that they make some really good points in this. So it starts out by saying, we're arguing about the human bone trade again, folks. A TikTok creator's controversial collection of bones has the internet once again debating the morality of buying and selling human remains. The issue is oddly specific, but the discussion is not new. Tumblr veterans will remember having this exact conversation in 2015. Human bone collector and distributor John Ferry built a TikTok following of nearly 457,000 people for his videos sharing facts about human anatomy, showing viewers how forensic anthropologists use bones in their research. Reminder, he's not an osteologist or an anthropologist. And displaying his literal bone-chilling collection of human remains. His cat Chonk occasionally makes an appearance, and this cat has been seen playing with the human remains and literally pulling a spine off of a coffee table. It's extremely disrespectful. Since first posting in early 2020 under the username Jonsbones, Ferry has established himself as a voice of authority in all things bone related. In one video, he shows how forensic anthropologists use evidence of jaw deterioration to determine a person's age at death. In another, he demonstrated how forearm bones twist around each other when a person moves their arm. The backlash started last week when Ferry responded to another TikTok user wondering if they found human bones in their wall. Ferry assured the user that the spine-like bones they found were not human and showed him what a real human vertebrae looks like. Panning the camera across his spine wall, Ferry then recommended that viewers familiarize themselves with the human anatomy, as spines are the most commonly found remains in the wild. Why do you have so many bones? One TikTok user commented. How do you have so many bones? And something that John has said before is literally quoted, and in the US, there is no federal regulation on the ownership, sale, or possession of human osteology, so it's completely legal. And I think that this is one of the biggest arguments here is just because something is legal does not mean that it's ethical. For me, I would not feel okay feeding my family by selling someone else's human remains on my website. And one of the darkest things that I saw on his website is that he actually has fetal remains, a fetal skull. Actually, I believe I found 2 on his website for sale. And I do not understand why anyone with a conscience would feel okay selling that to a private collector and collecting money in order to pay their bills. That to me is someone that does not have a moral code. There is no ethics, and just because something is legal does not mean that it's okay. In the video replying to that comment, Ferry explained that he works with osteology, which is the study of the human skeleton and its functions. Osteologists work in forensic osteology and aid in investigating crime scenes or in archaeology to interpret ancient ways of life based on surviving human remains. It's worth noting that Ferry himself is neither an anthropologist or a forensic osteologist, but a buyer and a distributor of said human remains. His company, also named Jonsbones, sells these remains to osteologists and medical institutions. At the flippant way, Ferry explained the legality of his company's medical osteology trade alarmed some TikTok users. One commented that if they wanted to donate their body to science, only to end up in a collector's possession, they'd be pretty mad. Others noticed that legality can't be equated with morality. I swear I haven't read this article, but it's voicing exactly how I feel. And some question how Ferry could guarantee that the remains were ethically sourced if he had no way to trace its origins. You can't. It's impossible. Those were people, TikTok user commented, not rocks to collect. Have some respect. And that's the other thing, is John is constantly telling people to have respect because they're human remains, but there is video evidence of his friend's gecko climbing through one of the skulls that he has in his collection. Again, his cat playing with numerous specimens in his residence where all of them are stored. And he also went to pick up a human skeleton and threw it in the back of his car, put a hat and sunglasses on it. This is something that he does on a very normal basis, dressing up the skeletons, and to me, that is not respecting a corpse.
Skulls are respected to the best of my ability, so they must be treated with the most respect and dignity. They are to be treated with respect and dignity. Most dignity and respect.
In another video, Ferry admitted that many of the remains in his collection come from China, India, and Russia, were likely very poor people. He added that the remains were cleaned in India before Western companies bought and distributed them to private collectors. Ferry said his company's goal is to source what's left of those remains from private collectors and put them back into the medical community. But his inventory's origins only further stoked the outrage. The hashtag Jonsbones has nearly 4 million views on TikTok as of Wednesday. People seem to think I'm out there shovel in hand digging up bones myself and then selling them on the internet. Doesn't matter. I can assure you the only thing I'm digging up is my houseplants for repotting. Stupid. Some TikTok users drew similarities between Ferry's collection and another human bone scandal that shook the internet a few years ago. The uproar was way too reminiscent of the infamous Tumblr bone thief who was exposed for allegedly stealing human bones from Louisiana cemeteries and selling them. In what became known as Bonghazi, a Tumblr user shared a screenshot of a Facebook post by Ender Darling, who was known on Tumblr as Little Fucking Monster. In the Facebook post, Darling said that after the rain, human bones would resurface at the poor man's graveyard near their house, and they had been using the remains for witchcraft. They floated the idea of selling leftover remains from their monthly bone heists. Email to Mashable, Ferry clarified that his company, Jonsbones, does not deal in anatomy taken from grave sites, catacombs, ossuaries, or anywhere other than the medical bone trade. What Darling did is grave robbing, which is completely unacceptable, Ferry continued, and is not comparable to what Jonsbones does as a company. The problem is that John has said on videos where he doesn't know the origin. So you can't not know the origin, but then also be able to guarantee that they're coming from the medical field and not coming from a gravesite or catacombs. Work to preserve osteology so that future generations can learn from it. These pieces are not decoration, they are teaching tools and serve a very important purpose. Another contradiction. He literally has spines decorating his walls in his apartments and uses skeletons as props and funny things for videos that he does. You can't say that you're wanting to be taken seriously and you have a strong moral code when your video evidence proves otherwise, period. I just don't, for me, especially considering that he's not an osteologist, he's not an anthropologist, he is not any of these things, it just does not sit right with me. And I think that's what a lot of other users are saying, is that him getting rich off of this, paired alongside video evidence showing that he does not respect these remains, combined with the sourcing of the remains and the constant saying one thing but doing evidence showing another, I think all of those combined is what has really sparked this outrage. And as the news has spread, more and more people are paying attention to it and being upset by it for good reason. I don't like it. So I don't want this video to come off as if I'm shading oddities collectors. most oddities collectors want to know the full story of where the specimen comes from, and that's the big takeaway. This, you don't know the source, and most collectors would not want something in their private collection that could have been grave robbed or taken from a extremely, poverty-stricken person in India who did not sign up to have their remains on sale to build Jonsbones line his pockets. So I think that we could definitely continue this conversation. I really want to kind of throw this out to you guys surface level and get your thoughts on it. If you want me to do a part 2, I certainly can. It's troubling to see this, but I'm also glad that it's getting a lot of attention. I found out about it and now I'm telling you guys, and however many views this video gets, it's more people that will know about this. And if you guys are on Twitter, you can see what people on Twitter are saying. If you're on TikTok, definitely look and see. Take a look at the AJ Hawkins page. I'll link her TikTok in my description box. But, this is a very interesting conversation. So either way, for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.